Check, check. Correct,
I was
it
trying
is.
to see the thing. I was trying to see the thing real quick because my
You want
mic.
to? I don't
Yeah,
mind.
just quick.
Go
My
ahead.
headset started to fall. It started to kind of sloop, and so now my mic sits a little bit further away from my face.
And it's still doing all
There
right.
we go. Yeah, there we go. I gotta basically sit it in front of my face to get full audio, but there we go.
Alrighty, race fans. Here tonight, we will close out the regular season championship for these USA Trucks East Division. And I got James alongside me for the call here tonight.
Heyo.
And obviously, not a whole lot of championship drama as our title's already tied up. As you see on the front row here, Jordan Walker, the guy with the championship tied up already, but that doesn't mean that we might see a surprise winner lock their way into the playoffs here tonight too. And I think you might have a certain someone you're keeping your eyes on, James.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tom Cording here in the 50. He is sitting 17th in points, but that does not lock him into the playoffs here for the USA Trucks. He needs a win tonight to get in.
Yeah.
To be in with his brother Tom or
Y-
Tim.
Yep. So there's no way he's going to be able to point his way in. He's going to have to win his way in. Starting pretty good there to get the job done here tonight. Fourth, actually third on the grid here. And a lot of these drivers, as we go through the grid, some new faces in different places, new names that we don't usually see up the front of the field here. Ryan White, pretty new to the series. Eli the Wolf still needs a win. Chaz Chadwick's one of our favorites, usually to win the title. Brandon Butler, Wyatt Wilkinson, Hamburgerson, Ace Vaden, Cannon Gage, Gannon Bird, Ant Me Person. Al Bunch right there, he's got a win, and he's locked in. Willow Blake, she's looking for a win. She's doing very good over there in the ARCA side of things and is hoping to get the truck side a little bit more ramped up here. As we skim through the rest of the order, Drew Clue, David Bird, Kyle Ottawa, Mark Shelton, Scott Speed, who's a favorite right now in the Bridge to Cup title. Bradley Ream, also in that Bridge to Cup championship battle. Ralph Oberstadt, and then Finley Herwig and Chris Mozzie rounding out the back of the field for 250 miles here at Darlington tonight. Something about Darlington, isn't there, James? It just seems like no matter what we're racing or what time of the year.
Doesn't matter what we bring here or when we bring it here. It's always a good race. You never know what we're gonna get. We're either gonna get some 200 laps, 180 lap snooze fest, or it's gonna be the craziest 180 laps of our lives. Absolutely zero in between with Darlington.
It's always exciting to see the tire fall off at this track, too. These guys, I think we're going to see it with the trucks tonight. It's going to be interesting. Who's going to gamble and maybe try to push the envelope to get that coveted win to move on in the playoffs? I guess we'll have to see. But of course, starting on the front row are the two guys sitting first and third in the points. Alan Malcolm, I think more so would like to get up to second so that he could give Trevor Ventures pretty much a sweep of both the East and the West championship. We know the West side got tied up with Trevor Walker and Trevor Vaden finishing 1-2. Believe it or not, it was the teammate to the team owner beating him. So Trevor Walker finished second, and he's the boss man of the Trevor Ventures outfit. And yeah, he ended up coming up just second. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Trevors have when we pair them up against this East Coast. You can see there Tom Cording stuck on the high side now. Not a good place to be here at Darlington.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to be more on that bottom line there.
Now this right here, I mean, we're only on lap 3, but Ryan White has never won a race in Sigma competition, and we've already known the very unfortunate circumstances behind Chevy. They've only gotten one win in USA Trucks competition. And I don't want to give him the commentator's curse and really boast about the run right now, but this is not normally a driver or a truck that we would see running up front mostly at all. He's bumping elbows with the veterans, as you see even Chaz Chadwick right there behind him making a move for position.
Those two get real tight coming into the corner for that battle for first, though.
Ooh, Chadwick. Yeah, Chadwick now up to second. Tom Cording back on the mend. So you got it. The whole thing, the whole atmosphere of this race changes when these drivers know that it's do or die here tonight for a lot of their titles, anything, title hopes, just overall the rest of your season is on the line right here tonight.
Well, and for the Cording brothers, it means having one chamber or two, one bullet in the chamber or two up against the 10 team and the rest of them from that camp over there.
Right? Yeah, Tim, we got to see Tim get a win on the dirt, which is to be expected. We know that he's got quite the prowess when it comes to dirt track racing.
Well, I mean,
And
that makes, what, 4 for 4, I think?
yeah, I think of the track,
I think it might be 4 for 5 now that I think about it, but
there was one of them where he ended up flipping, so I think that one he lost. But
yeah, that's why I say 4 for 5. But I'm pretty sure he's on track for winning all of the dirt track races that he's been in.
yeah, I would look up the stats, but I don't want to take my eyes off the screen because there's a lot going on right here. We got Ace Vaden up to 5th.
That'll be one for the WAN in the stats section later.
Yeah. So Ace Vaden is brother to Trevor Vaden. He's doing it a little bit differently, not racing for the Trevor Ventures outfit, but in need of a win to move on. I don't even know if he's up high enough in the points is the unfortunate part. No. So if he were to win, he would rack up about 50 points. He'd be up to 121 points, which would still be short. So unfortunately, no matter what Vaden, at least Ace Vaden, does here tonight, he ain't going to be able to get up into the top 25 in points. Still impressive to see a turnaround here from that number 1 truck. Looks like we might have something brewing here.
I might have just had to wait for those tires to get a little bit warmer than what they were before trying to lead and take off.
And I'm slightly surprised how bad the 10 trucks dropped off here. He's fallen all the way back to 6th at the moment. Let's take a quick jump from the back of the field here and see what everyone else is doing. Jordan Brinker holding up the tail of the field as Cal Anderson, Chris Mozzie, and Jamie Horseman are there in front of him. Finley Herwig was dead in on the field. He's gained a few spots since the start. Kyle Ottawa, Mark Shelton. Obviously, all these guys at the back. Not any of these guys are title contenders, but always never know. There's always the off chance that something crazy could happen here at Darlington. Taden Berggren, it's been a rough couple of years for him. One of our initial starters from 2022. He had a win in his first career start. Well, not career start, but first season. Had a one win at least in his first season. But since then has not been able to find victory lane and has struggled immensely. I can't quite remember, but I think there was scuttlebutt that he was planning on selling the truck team at the end of the year, so that he can try to put his focus upwards into the Cup Series. That could come as a good start for some new blood in the truck series here if the team sells to a new owner. And you got Willow Blake running in 31st. Then we get into our top 30 here. Ryan Little, Scott Speed. It's honestly crazy, James, that this is the same guy that has won at least, I think, 3 or 4 races in our Bridge to Cup series.
Just can't find luck here.
No,
it's one of those things where the trucks are just a little bit harder to drive than the cars.
Yeah, it seems to be a definitely different learning curve. That some of these drivers that are really good on the stock car side of things don't really transition over to the trucks. Which is in part one of the reasons why my truck series continues to be its own kind of bread and butter. I mean, you've got the stock car side of things, which the ladder is pretty linear. A lot of these guys in the trucks have been here since day one. There's only a few guys, I would say, like Atlee Weiss, Louis Trost, to name a few, that have long since left the truck series to put more of their eggs in one basket with the Cup Series. But you think about it, many of these teams, many of these drivers, they get more R&D, more track time. They could take this to the track. Honestly, I would account Scott Speed's dominance in Bridge to Cup this year for the fact that he's been out here struggling in the trucks even, I would say.
Well, and it also helps keep you hungry. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, you keep racing against all these people and...
Well, and you keep racing, you keep pushing yourself, and you keep missing out on the results, and eventually it starts getting to you, and you're like, come on, when's it coming, you know?
Well, and here's another great subject on the matter, Al Bunch, who's won 9 Sylvania Cup races this year. He did find victory lane in the trucks, which was actually it was a huge deal when he found it, because he had a crappy year up to that point, and now he's going to be locked into the playoffs. But it does make a world's difference when you get in this truck.
Yeah, no, it makes a big difference based on what type of vehicle you're running. Like, sometimes you're more comfortable in, like, the Bridge to Cup cars or the Cup cars, or sometimes you're just comfortable here in the trucks. like a Tim Cording, for example, where he doesn't really have the success in the stock actual stock car side of things, but in these trucks he has pretty good success and he seems to know what he's doing here.
Well, and even in the Cup side of things, we see him break out in victory lane once in a while, but definitely not
But
to the same consistency as the trucks.
well, right, but then you flip the coin and you look at his brother in that case in terms of bridge to cup success and cup success, and you go, well, yeah, he's actually a tear bit better than Tim in that side of things. And yeah, he may not quite have a win, but when you look at things as a whole, he does have the better stats than Tim does when it comes to running when it comes to running in the Cup Series.
Mm-hmm.
That might even be something that comes up here in the silly season with the brothers. Maybe coming in late in the season helped them realize what they really really wanted to do.
Kind of change their focus and set their sights.
Right, coming in midway through the season going, well, we're just kind of playing for keeps at this point. Like, whatever happens, happens. Let's just see how this goes.
Well, things have sort of shooken up a little bit at the front here. Do have another Chevy represented in the top 5. Cannon Gage, who has yet to win in all of Sigma competition. It's been elusive for him as he is a truck regular, a bridge to cup regular, and most likely going to find his way up into cup here someday soon. He's been unfortunately on the south end of success, partially because of Chevy. The downside of having Chevy in the truck series here, I don't know when Chevy or how Chevy's going to fix their their competition side of things just off a little bit.
Well, I think part of the problem is they don't seem to have a flagship team, so to speak.
Yeah, when you look at, say, Honda, you've got LFG Motorsports.
You look at Audi, although they're in a little bit of shambles right now. They technically, when they started the season, had the Cording brothers as their flagship when they started the season.
No matter what manufacturer they sign up for, that's going to be a flagship team with KBM.
They weren't exactly the flagship team. That's that goes to Shangle Motorsports with the Fords and Cup. But they were basically in the sense of Sigma Racing. It was almost I think like a Hendrick RCR, except more so the teams were willing to work together.
Right. Well, and then of course you got Trevor Ventures, the Toyotas here on the truck side of things.
Ooh. And we also have a pass for the lead potentially.
Side by side down the front stretch. Oh.
Looked like Tom was going to get left to hung out dry there for a second.
But it did open the door for another move there. The number 1 of Vaden now up 1 spot.
And our good old buddy, the 18 truck, just got dropped down to 6th.
I was going to say, too, one of the guys in the field here, it's going to be his last USA truck start tonight. And we're going to see him in the modified series. This might be one you need to add to that list. Let me find him. Where did he blow up? He must have. There, right there. Hamburgerson, he was running 16th. Dropped all the way back to 26th. So tonight here, this is his final start in the USA Trucks. At least for now, unless he decides to come back into the server. But has since departed the server, so we're going to put him down into our reserve series.
Well, we've reached a point where I'm going to start You keep throwing me names, and we'll fill out what's left.
Maybe just grab a notepad real quick and jot that name down. And I'll try to remind you afterwards, too.
I do also want to point out that I wanted to grab a point in our conversation there to point out that Tom does have the fastest lap right now.
Nice.
That is a 28.735. But yeah, back to what we were saying before all that excitement broke out, is like that really is what Chevy seems to be severely lacking. Which I think that's part of where the rumors in the garage are that maybe the Cording brothers might be signing with Chevy in the offseason.
Oh wow, man, that would be a game changer.
We have a lot of really good Chevy teams, but nobody is taking that flagship and seeming to lead the way, you know?
Right. Well, and you get so many teams out there, it really does come down to performance to start establishing that, that flagship name. And anymore, I mean, if you look at real life NASCAR, it's hard to really pinpoint who the flagship Ford team is. Many would probably say Penske because it's pretty much the same, same team that's been around over the last 3 to 4 decades, maybe more than that. I'm assuming probably 50 years even.
Right.
But you look at Keselowski, Fenway, Roush. That's still Roush from as many years back.
That again goes to the problem of having flagship teams and having identity crises. Is while the Toyotas are thriving because JGR is the sole flagship team, Ford is still struggling somewhat because nobody's a flagship team, but everybody's on the same page. At least.
Right.
Everybody's at least on the same page about what they need to be doing with their cars.
So we could probably even liken.
And then you look at Chevys in the real world, and they have the RCR versus Hendricks problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they struggle more than everybody else, because, well, you have two engines up to offer. One's better than the other for sure.
Well, and I was gonna liken it up. Then our Chevy turmoil is a lot like Ford turmoil as of recent in real life NASCAR.
Exactly. They have a lot of good. Oh,
whoa!
10 there.
He just got body slammed by the 10. Holy cow!
Yeah. It's like the 18 gonna apply the pressure there. I keep forgetting his name. His name escapes me right now. I don't know why.
The 10?
18.
Chadwick. Chadwick.
You. I don't know why. I wanted to say Chadwick, and then my brain was like, no, that's not right. We're gonna go with the 18 truck for now. For some reason, we're wrong.
No, that was a vicious move there from the 10, though.
Yeah, that was really aggressive. Like, I don't feel like Tom did anything to warrant that. I mean, I might have biases, but yeah, no. I would liken the Ford problems to what our Chevys are having right now, because we have a lot of really good teams, just nobody's leading it.
Well, and I think going into next year, one of the things I'm going to try to focus on with the trucks, first and foremost, is I'm going to be cleaning up. I mean, let's see. Most of the teams out there are still active in the server, but if we go from the back here, I don't know if Chris Mozzie is active, so unless Unless he begins becoming more active on the server, I'm probably gonna chop him off the roster. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with the 43. I do believe Berggren is planning on selling that team. Mark Shelton, I'll give a pass. Brinker, I think, will extend at least if he wants to start focusing solely on the Cup Series, since he is in Cup and Bridge to Cup kind of realm of racing. We might look to try and move him up the ladder and maybe free up a back marker here in the Truck Series. Herwig,
Yeah,
I know for a fact Herwig is interested in buying a team. So if that team were to sell, we could basically do a merger of sorts with the ride that he's got there. They're both Chevys, so he could probably upgrade basically by combining
and
what he's got.
well, and I'll make our silly season a little bit more interesting to put things into a little bit more perspective. Right now, I am thinking that Tom is gonna go up. Tom's gonna go back to Cup next season and flagship our car whatever manufacturer I end up going with.
Wait. So Tom is going to be up in Cup. Is he going to replace Tim?
Yes, Tim's gonna come down and go full truck.
Okay. Yeah, because Tim
'Cause
has yet to win actually the overall championship. Because
Tim's yeah,
he
Tim's won. I think Tim's won the overall championship. I thought.
he won the regular season, and
I
that
thought he won
was
the. Thought he won the championship last year. Has Tom
because
won twice?
Tom won it once. Oh, I think you're right. Because
Yeah, Tom
basically
won the year before, and then Tim won the next.
Tim has won 1.5 because the regular
Yeah,
season counted as a half championship
yeah.
for numbers.
Mhm.
And Tom went on to win. Yeah, he won the summer overall championship.
Right. But
Yep.
like I was saying, like yeah, Tim has wins in the Cup Series, but like when you compare like actual like speed and success, uh, Tom has the better numbers realistically.
Okay.
Tom just doesn't have the wins in the win column yet, but I don't think we've actually given Tom a full season in the Cup Series yet. So
No, he's been
he's made
part-time this
he
year.
I think he's been part-time every year we've introduced him. So since we introduced him. So it seems like it's a fair thing. Tim's had a lot of time up there in the Cup Series to have something actually strike and work. Whereas Tom gets part-time up there and does really well, actually.
Well, and you might actually kind of, Tim got up there in Cup so he could kind of prep the car for his brother then, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so Tasha will also be staying down in trucks next season. She'll be getting a boost in truck next year. So that leaves us 2 trucks on my team. Wide open. That's 2 top tier trucks wide open. On our silly season.
Are you going to
Just a heads
focus
up.
like towards the East Coast more so than the West and
I know Tim and Tasha are going to be on the same coast, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the other one yet.
so you
That's
will
gonna. I
you
haven't
will
really
have
decided.
a couple more trucks then up to 4?
Yeah, I'll have
Okay.
4. Well, Cording Brothers Motorsports is still going to have 4 trucks total. It's just not going to be. Tom's not going to be there. It's going to be Tim and Tasha on one, and then let's see who the silly season brings us for the other 2 on the other side. That'll be the story of KBM because that's new. That's new for them. They've
No,
not had anybody that's not familiar or makes sense for them outside of Tasha and who is in the 82 truck today, right now.
Oh yeah, Kosnoff in the 82.
Kosnoff.
Yep. No, that's definitely what I get excited about at this time of the year is the silly season and what's on on deck for next season.
Yeah, that opens up 2 more top tier trucks in on a coast that we don't even know who's in them yet.
Which is gonna be insane. I mean, just think about who could change their trajectory of career off of joining. That's like Trevor Ventures here, for example. Alan Malcolm, who's leading this race right now, relative unknown, had shown enough interest and got recruited by Trevor Walker to join his truck team. And man, the rest has been history this year for that 9 team. It's been a dream year for the team.
Well, and you never know. We could also pick up another veteran. You never know. Somebody could be decide that I want to stay in trucks, but I don't want to do the whole truck management team thing anymore. I'm selling my team.
Right? Yeah, or you could have a kind of like a hot shot seat that rotates week to week too.
Exactly.
Lap traffic now, and I think green flag pit stops are going to be factoring in here shortly as well. Dude, we went 53 laps without a caution at Darlington. That's crazy. And of course, I'm opening my mouth hoping I could jinx it maybe, but yeah, we'll see. We're down to, I think, about 50 days away until the Music Fest Grand Prix for the Cup Series.
Heck yeah.
That I'm gonna need to get within the next day or two a vote list put together so that we can get one driver fan voted in. Hasn't really been completely put together yet, but I've got an idea. It's supposed to have been put together as of yesterday so that we could start getting people voting right now. But I'm gonna have to be hard at work here in the next day or so to put together that fan vote and get some.
In other Sigma news, on top of that, the mini stock stuff for iRacing does drop tomorrow, so I'm gonna get to work on that starting tomorrow.
Sweet, yeah, that's good news too. We can get the ball rolling on our iRacing side of things here.
I've got a couple people from my team helping me with setup work, because I don't mind fixed setups, but built setups are a little bit nicer sometimes. But I'm new to it, so I'm not going to give us anything that I don't feel is going to work for everybody.
Yep, baby steps. You don't have to stress it too much, obviously.
Yep. That's just kind of a thing where I'm going to hit the tracks that you and I have already discussed are going to be on the schedule, and if I can build a set that me and my team helping me feel that are good setups that just about anybody could drive, then we'll probably stick with the fixed setups. But if the 3 of us hit a point where it's like, okay, yeah, this could work for just about anybody. This is really nice.
Which, yeah, that's the tough part, is finding that fine line, getting it.
Actually, two of us on the 2 out of the 3 have experience with IRL mini stocks,
setups, and all that for the real life side of things.
With at least driving them, and then
nice.
The third person just has sim experience. So that's kind of where it's nice. Is 2 out of 3 of us have an idea of what it should be set up like and how we want it to feel, and then that third person to be like, yeah, but it's a little hard for us people that are just sim racers to drive this. This is an awkward set. So then we can work from there to try to make it more balanced for everybody.
Yep, I'm hoping I can get some more free time here to help even on my end of things for the iRacing. It's pretty much easy to set up, right? Like you have to pay like $10 to set up the league and whatnot, and
it looks fairly simple from the things I'm seeing. It looks fairly easy to run once you get things set up and rolling.
okay. Nope, that's definitely it's on the plan list. It's on the back burner side of things, but I think once we get through the Music Fest Grand Prix, I'm gonna have a lot more available time. It's crazy how.
I think you and I were aiming for like a December, like a roughly December start time.
Yeah.
For it.
And a lot of that kind of falls in line with what else I've been working on lately is getting our 2025 Sigma schedules put together. And I would say about 60% set up on that. It's crazy some of the ideas and my concepts that I've been working with. Even today, I just thought of it. It's like it'd be ideal to end all of our feeder series in September. Well, actually, at the end of August, first week of September, so that we're not, trying to compete against the NFL. I mean, that's one of those things. No matter what, even if you're streaming or doing this or doing that, it's just hard to pick a time window when you've got football and all these other things going on. So I'm going to try to incorporate my scheduling as well as my busy schedule, trying to adjust with vacation or trips and stuff. I mean, it's hard to actually know what all I'm doing in 2025 right today, but I can kind of guesstimate at least. So that's just an open look into my brain onto how I've been putting together a schedule. But what's your opinion on the doubleheader? You think that'll be a cool event for the Sigma Cup series?
Oh yeah, I think a doubleheader will be fun. A fun event for the Cup Series. That we don't do doubleheaders very often around here, so.
I was trying to roll the idea around to see if I can maybe work it in with our ladder or the rest of the ladder, but I'm still trying to keep every other series at only about one track, visiting one track once a year, rather than seeing, two Daytonas, two, Martinsvilles, two Richmonds, and just go to all these new tracks that you don't really see. Okay, so 66 is our pit window here.
Well, I think how we did it with how we initially planned it for Bridge to Cup isn't a bad idea. Where it's Daytona 3 times, but
different, yeah.
It's different variations.
Which I'm all for that. That's fine by me. At least change up. Hell, throw them out there going counterclockwise on Daytona. That might be a nightmare. What's up?
I was telling you, I think it looks like Tom stayed out. Is the only one that stayed out there on the cycle here.
Is he still okay? So he's gonna stretch it longer here. He's on the overcut.
He might be hoping for a caution. Sorry for interrupting you, but
no, it's fine.
I just thought it was interesting that he was Or I just thought I should note it, that he was the one that stayed out.
So this would put him on fresher tires in the last stint, which could be a game changer in the closing laps to have fresher tires.
Well, and as you just saw, the 9 just went by. So he, depending on what his strategy is, he might have time to get out ahead of them.
So yeah, if he goes at the rate he's going, he would have 6 laps, fresher tires for the last stint. If things stay green, obviously, you never know. We might have a caution. It is Darlington after all.
Yeah. Was the 28 car struggling?
I think it was maybe just stuttering with the frame rate.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. It was just when he was coming out of pit lane there. It looked like he was rolling kind of weird.
As everyone else rejoins the racing surface, looks like Malcolm's probably going to have the dominant lead here.
Yep, he's going to take back what was his.
The 76 is yet to pit, so it'll shuffle back out here pretty much. So I wanted to bring this up too, since it really hasn't been an official change of rule. But going forward in 2025, what do you say about for all the super speedway races, after a green flag stop just like we had here, that you waive, I guess, kind of a stage caution of sorts, where you would allow them to get stacked back up?
I don't hate that idea, because the way NR works on super speedways, they're all going to come down again and shuffle.
Yeah. And the thing is, usually once they do a pit stop, a green flag pit stop at Daytona, they're not savvy, they're not smart enough to get out with another group and start drafting. So you'll have like 5 broken groups throughout the field, and no one is, running for the win at that point, except for 3 guys at the front.
Well, right, and then it's not even racing, it's just them switching back and forth between who's leading.
Yep, in that group that they're running with.
Yeah,
so,
and then you have to wait and hope for another caution on the second set of pit stops.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's...
Which you usually do at that point. They're so spread out enough that they usually do.
They usually do. And even the concept in mind, it might not work for many of the super speedways, because you might have a wreck every 20 laps anyways. So
right, it's kind of like the NASCAR caution clock, but better, because it's more so after you've already done your service.
Yep, and that would be it.
You've already played roulette. It's roulette again on your choice of whether you come in or not.
Which that, yeah, of course, would be the concept. I would wait till everyone comes out from their green flag pit stops, therefore not giving anyone or any particular driver an advantage or disadvantage, but it would allow us to keep the racing exciting, basically. The equivalent of what NASCAR does with their stage breaks. And I didn't want to do that. It's not like we're going to award points. There's no points that'll be awarded. It's just going to be a competition caution to allow for, competition to get back racing again.
I'd say, what if we did it before, but that completely takes out the strategy game of it.
Oh yeah, no, I'll wait till next year to fully implement it. I'll try to figure out.
I was saying, what if we looked at the garage, saw what the pit window was for gas?
Oh, gotcha.
And tried to do it before then, but that doesn't account for what potentially the tire wear is going to be.
Well, and I still like the idea of them coming down pit road for green flag pit stops.
Yeah.
I don't like the way NR handles drafting. it's not on their priority when they come down pit road
No,
on
it's
super
not.
speedway,
Their only priority is, oh shit, I'm out of fuel.
right? Ooh, Guido Piano all the way up to 5th. That's impressive. You know, Tom Cording's settled into 7th here. And of course, we're not going to have any of and they're going to race here until we get someone to wreck. We're not going to throw no cautions here at Darlington. That's one of the charms of Darlington is watching them race this hard. Yeah, the 9, you never know. He could get a flat tire leading the race here and hit the wall. Gonna have to look and see who's... Wow, he just set his fastest lap. Wow, 28.971. I was gonna start looking and seeing what lap times look like, but it looks like he's finding speed here later in the run. This would be about the time where his tires start to fall off. But quite contrary. He's still 28th fastest, so everyone must be in the sweet spot right now. Yeah, Chadwick 29.3, nowhere near as fast as our leader. 29s, 28. Now it just seems like Alan Malcolm had a sweet spot there and hit some really fast laps. And he's growing the gap from second on back. So it kind of leads me to think some of the teams went backwards on their adjustments with their trucks. Always got to kind of consider the day to night transition here at Darlington. Sometimes that affects the car setup, the truck setup as it is here tonight. I say give it about 30 more laps, and then you'll start to see some of those guys that came in later start to move upward.
Yeah, everybody else will start burning their stuff up. Well, and let's remember, it took Tom a few laps to get rolling towards the front like he was at the start. It took him a few laps before he got moving like that.
Potentially a battle brewing here for second place as Chadwick holds second. Jordan Walker wants that position. Ace Vaden just a couple spots back there. He gets on the inside of the 10. Kind of shuffles them up a line there. In the meantime, it's still a 4.7 second lead that Alan Malcolm holds over this pack of trucks right here. Going into turn 3, the 10's got the advantage here.
I don't think Chadwick is going to have a choice in this one. Yeah, he's just going to have to fight back and hope he doesn't lose more than 2 spots out of this. 3 spots out of this.
And he's going to settle in right behind Guido Piano. Man, it's crazy how many of the names stay the same at the front of the field. We've seen Chadwick, we've seen Jordan Walker, we've seen Guido Piano up at the front of these races. It seems to be, rinse and repeat. It's crazy. I don't think it's ever going to get old seeing Guido Piano. It's a story that basically wrote the beginning of the USA Truck Series. Guido Piano. Oh, caution.
We got a caution. I think the car was on the front stretch here.
I'll go ahead and finish my story in a minute. We got to go check and see on. I think that was the 13 of Aunt Me person. Also another one of those names that.
Yep. Oh no. Doesn't look like anything went wrong.
Engine.
Tire failure.
Tire. Oh, the Zero had a blown engine. Flat tire on Aunt Me person. That brings out the caution. And that'll stack them all back up.
Yeah. Ask and we shall receive, huh?
Yep, that's exactly where. Right. $2 miles an hour, yep. So I think he'll get that fixed. The Zero of Jakov Rosevich had a blown header, so he's out of the race in dead last. We're going to go ahead and give the wave round to 4 trucks here.
You may want to wait for pit stops.
Yep. Actually, since they're right there.
Yep.
41. Alrighty, and so back to our leaders here. But yeah, let me finish that story on Guido Piano that I was. So yeah, and I think his name kind of came to be about a little bit of a joke because he was kind of surprised when things got serious and he was competing for a championship. He won his second start out in the trucks when he joined back in 2022. Didn't make all the starts as he joined later in the season and started after I think 2 races had already been run. But that one win was enough to graduate him into the playoffs that season. And he was already deep in the seeding and had a lot of his work cut out for him. And come to the round of 6, since we did it kind of like elimination style, the round of 13 down to the round of, I think, 10, 6, and then 3, Guido Piano was dead last of the 6 drivers in the last race before the championship finale, and he was a must-win. And come to Pocono with a must-win on his belt, he delivered in fashion, running a fuel mileage race in the truck and pulling off the victory, becoming the sweet number 3 seed for the championship that season. Well, at that point, he was already playing on house money, so what else could he do other than to show up to Talladega with that same mindset? You know, you had to show up to Pocono in a must-win, so really all it took was, show up to Talladega with that same mindset, and I'll be darned if that was not the game plan from the first lap at Talladega. He ended up winning Talladega and became your first ever USA Trucks champion back in 2022. I'm sure you faintly remember this, don't you, James?
Oh, I remember that race really well. That was actually a really, really good race. I think I don't remember if I called that one with you. I don't think I did.
But Tim was running.
Yeah, Tim was second. Tim finished third, I think.
Yeah, because they got wrecked out, and
Tim was the second favorite headed into Chadwick. Him and Chadwick had been fighting all season long, and Guido came out of nowhere and just snatched it away from both of them.
Seriously, out of nowhere. It was, one of those moments that that'll live with me forever. That's for sure. And I think it's partially a chip on Tim's shoulder that championship got away from him. And with Guido Piano, he is in right now on points, not in on wins. The only thing is, if we had a surprise winner, let's say the one, well, not the one, because we already came to the conclusion that he is ineligible. The 74 is about 7th there. He could potentially get in there. Scott Speed has a win, so he's outside the top 10 in points. Al Bunch has a win, and he's outside the top 10 in points. So that means the top 8 is the sweet spot right now. Guido Piano sits 7th. Well, if we get another surprise winner, let's say Tom Cording, that would make the sweet spot 7th place, and Guido Piano just has to stay 7th in the points to stay alive for the championship. So there's a lot of moving pieces right now. I imagine this restart's going to get bonkers here. Y'all might want to grab your seatbelts and buckle down. It's going to get crazy. We're right at halfway. Wow, perfectly at halfway. 92 laps in, 92 laps to go. That means 125 miles in the book with 125 on tap.
Means we're due for another pit stop still.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do for, if we look at 66 laps, that would get us to lap 158. So one more stop would get us pretty much solid. It's going to depend if we get another caution before the safe zone. If we get a caution, let's say at lap 115, and they pit on lap 116, they're going to be pushing it on fuel. So, yeah, if we get another caution, another quick caution here, everyone pits again, it's not going to be enough to make it to the finish. Here we go. The action's really bunching up here. Tom Cording side checks the 19 there of Piano. Wyatt Wilkinson holding in solidly. He's been up front running top 10 here tonight at Darlington.
Mitchell's going to be watching that 10 truck when he tries to go by Tom Cording there.
There we go. Attempting to make a move. Last time we saw these two.
Just to see if he did door check him again.
It was a little bit cleaner that time.
I imagine officials would have had a little bit of a problem with it if it would have been twice.
Right. No, it looked like he kind of got the message.
The first time it was like, it's Darlington. Could have just got tight.
Right.
But twice it's like, hold on. No. You're good. Why don't you come down and give us a visit?
Ooh, wow, Tom's really stuck up high there. He's struggling to find an open spot. You know, it's
found a spot right there with Ralph Oberstadt, but nope.
It's interesting to see just how different. You know, on the restart, you got trucks with a short run setup, and then the trucks kind of start to come together on the long run. You'll see the trucks with the long run setup come around.
Well, I think one of the other interesting things is here that like it goes to show what I was talking about earlier about different people struggling in different like types of cars. I think when we were here last year for the East for Darlington, Tim was actually really close up front and didn't really struggle anywhere near as much as we're seeing Tom.
Right, yeah. No, it's and Darlington is just one of those tracks. It's really a driver's track. You get to see different assets come to the front when different drivers have different skill sets that it just seems to mesh with them.
Well, and I feel like that's what the East is. It's a lot more tracks that are more driver tracks than just than relying on the car.
And that is true in so many degrees I'd never thought of before.
Well, and if you look on the West Coast, where Tom was last season, where he nearly swept all the rounds in the regular season, those are all tracks where it does have a lot to do with the driver, but
it's a lot of setup too.
It's a lot about setup of the car. And that's where Tom was thriving. Whereas over here, he's not... I wouldn't say he's struggling, but he's not thriving as much as he was on the West Coast.
Nope, that's... I like that insight. That is very, very deep insight on... And it's tough because the West schedule obviously is limited. I wish that the West side had a Darlington-esque track. Even, we've got Rockingham on the east side here, which is also, I think, in the same vein as Darlington.
Well, and I think maybe next season for the Truck Series, maybe we get a little more outside the box and maybe go to a few more dirt tracks that are smaller, more drivers tracks over that way.
Nice thing is Evergreen, I feel like Evergreen truly is kind of one of those driver tracks, even it being a short track and whatnot.
I think we also have a Kern County option.
Yes. The only thing, I think it only allows about 32 vehicles or even less than that. But obviously we haven't shied away from the heat format. We could do heat races to set the lineup and all that.
I don't see why not. I'd say, like, if we're gonna keep the max of 40, then the bottom, then say we take the top 5, then from 6th to 13th get the last 8 spots of points.
Right, yeah, still pay out points all the way to the bottom, just qualify them and run them so that they have a set finishing position at the end of the night. Nope, we got some ideas rolling. One of the schedules I have not touched yet is the truck series because I don't really have a direction I want to truly head. The one thing that has been set in stone is our feeder series are all going to end their championship on the moon to fit in with the interglobal part of things in our Sigma namesake. So that'll be interesting. And I think the tests that we ran, basically the races that we hosted there this year at Mars Speedway, proved to be, it's worthy. It's actually got good merit behind the track to host a championship finale. The crazy part is it does not exactly race like a super speedway. The restrictor plates are unrestricted. There is no restrictor plate. So they're getting up to like 242 miles an hour on the moon. But yet you don't really see the rotating draft package that we see at Daytona or Talladega, where they pretty much go on like a conveyor belt of who's leading the race. It really does turn into who has the best skill to go fast and not wreck the car. And I think it'll be interesting to see how we close out the championships next year on the moon. Just sounds crazy, doesn't it? Saying it that way.
Well, and I think that's a little bit of the like,
the hype or the
allure
shock and
of racing with NR is that you never know where you're gonna go.
Yeah, you can get as out of the box as you want with ideas.
I mean, we even have the option of going to Rainbow Road,
right?
if we really wanted to. It's a little glitchy and a little bumpy, but still creates decent racing for the trucks that stay on the track. For the cars that stay on the track, anyway.
The one it would be cool to host a race there, but my computer is not at the capabilities of hosting one. Would be like Xanarkand. It would be cool to go race there. I don't know if that's a no-no if I was allowed to do that, or would you know?
I have no idea. I have no idea on that one. One race I'd like us to host if it wasn't so buggy is I wouldn't mind another figure 8.
Right? No, and we could
kind of fun.
We could do that like, in off season even.
One-off races are pretty fun. Like,
wow, the 10 door checked his teammate there. The 9 got a good chunk of the 10.
Well, looks like I didn't even see Tom Cording in the 74 get up here.
Well, it's impressive. You got 2 Volkswagens working together here. Strength and parity. When you've got the 2.
Has Moger gotten his first win yet?
Not in our truck series. So he's one of those that it's eluded him forever as well. Oh, wow. Tom just dumped him for second there.
He says, sorry, man. I want us to finish up here well, but I gotta go. I gotta race to win.
Yeah, so Moger sits 15th in the points, and Tom Cording 17th. So honestly, these two, it's there's a lot on the line with those two right there.
It's a win and in for either of them here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you gotta imagine there's a little bit of urgency for Tom with Tim already in.
Yeah, so Moger never won last year, but it looks like he was able to make it into the chase last year on points, was 10th in points. Oh, wait, I'm mistaken. Chadwick knocked Moger out. Chadwick was in a must-win last year and rolled out with the Beluga paint scheme. How could I forget? Back to winter of 2023. Yeah, Moger was all the way back in 29th in the points. One top 5, one top 10. That was it. So we're going to have to go all the way back to the 2022 campaign, whereas he also struggled to get any better than one top 5 and 3 top 10s. So Moger definitely has shown improvements over the years. I think he's at the best form that he's been since he started. But it's really going to come down to who's got the pressure more to get the win here tonight. Is Tom Cording got it, or is Moger got it? Somewhere in the midst of this restart, Bradley Ream takes over fastest lap, takes it away from Tom Cording.
Well, and I think that adds to that, like, Cording brother touch too, in manufacturer showing up.
I'm impressed at just how tight it is, the front of the field. You got these 4 trucks that have had a solid breakaway. The second group now in the lead by James Gunner, Wyatt Wilkinson, Jeffrey Gerald, Ryan White, Eli the Wolf, and Ralph Oberstadt. David Bird with a solid top 15 run going so far. Bradley Ream with your fastest lap, but you can already see the lap times are dropping hard. His fast lap was a 28.7. Current lap was a 30.1. So it's all going to depend on who's got the worst drop-off here. Chadwick went from being a top 5 runner to all the way back in 17th. Guido Piano as well has dropped all the way back here, about to be outside the top 20. For some of these drivers, it really is a tale of 2 different races from the first half to the second.
Alan Malcolm has been trying his heart out for the last, like, 6 laps to find an opening to try to get by Tom there.
It almost looks like he's glued to the back bumper of the 50 there. So if we were, metaphorically, to have a caution right now, everyone would be able to make to the finish with a caution and everyone coming to the pits. Obviously, it's staying green right now, and all these guys are, for the most part, racing to the next window, which would be about lap 158 to 162, which would put them at about a 20-lap push to the finish on decently fresh tires. These 4 trucks at the front of the field have figured out the method here tonight to saving their tires and making them last the longest. Their lap times have not fallen off near as drastically as the rest of the field. You got to imagine part of it is setup, part of it is driver, and part of it is the engine. And we're seeing right now the Toyotas, the flagship Toyota team, and really the flagship Volkswagen. Apart from the 74 there, that would be one of DeBlank's team trucks. I want to say, I'm pretty sure it's a DeBlank truck. So they're similar engine packages. The two of them running up front. It's no surprise to see the parity across the teams when there's not as many Volkswagens as there are Toyotas. But it's definitely been pointing in the direction, the favor of Toyota here tonight. The Volkswagen, they're still having to do their homework under full speed right now, doing their homework each lap.
Yeah, having to just figure it out one lap at a time.
Looks like 74 starting to lose a little bit of traction here. Got to start to wonder if the tires are wearing out a little harder.
Malcolm.
Malcolm makes a move for second. Lap traffic also factoring in here. Ooh, and Courting drops all the way back to fourth.
Well, and hopefully they've created a big enough gap that he has room to rally back.
They're going to catch this lap truck at the worst case scenario. The 10, wow, has to make an evasive maneuver there. That closes the gap back up to the 9.
Ooh, he touched him.
The 9 now on the attack, it looks like. If we can get the 9 to get side by side with the 10, that should allow the 74 and the 50 to catch back up. Yeah, sprinkle in another lap truck not too far in the distance. There goes Tom Courting on the inside of the 74. That ain't necessarily conducive to catching up to the leaders as they're going to get side by side here.
Moger's not, doesn't look like Moger's going to put up much of a fight for him, against him. Says you're the faster truck, go.
Looks like the next lap truck they're going to catch should be Jammy Horseman in the number 28. Wow, David Bird up to 9th. Some of our top 10 drivers, there's some surprises here in the top 10 tonight. Moger definitely a surprise in the top 5 here. Ralph Oberstadt, that's an impressive one up to 5th. Wyatt Wilkinson has struggled in the trucks, yet running 6th here tonight. Some of these guys getting just a better feel for Darlington. Al Bunch making a move on the inside up to 6th now. That's going to drop Wilkinson backwards here for a moment. James Gunner, Eli the Wolf, and even Brandon Butler II running in the top 10. Ryan White right there on the cusp of a top 10. Skylar Taylor, Gannon Bird, Ace Vaden, that kind of puts you all the way back to 15th. With LFG Motorsports teammates of Jeffrey Gerald and Chaz Chadwick, 15th and 16th. Wow, Al Bunch making some bold moves here. It looks like he's going to get up to 5th. Seems like he saved his tires for a late push in the long green flag run here. He's definitely got a lot of ground to cover if he wants to catch up to our leaders. But just like that, 8.5 seconds back. Clean track in front of him except for some lap traffic. They caught the 28 of Jamie Horseman pretty easily. They're going to work their way around him here. Well, so far here tonight, just one caution for a stalled truck on the front stretch. The 13 of Ant Me Person came down pit road, got his flat tire fixed, and he's back out there running a couple laps down. Majority of the laps led here tonight have been between the 9 and the 10 truck. But it doesn't matter how many laps you lead in the beginning 90% of the race. It's all about who's going to be leading at that last lap. And I'm sure there's some folks that get irritated with hearing the very subject win and you're in, but it still applies to parts of my series here. The Sigma USA Truck Series, we've got a playoff system. It's actually a pretty well balanced playoff system that we've got between the East and the West. The 10 best from the East and the 10 best from the West lock their way into a championship playoff that pits all 20 of them up against each other in a universal schedule, basically. So the East side right now races on East Coast United States tracks. The West Coast races on, obviously, Western State U.S. tracks. But for our East-West championship playoff chase kind of thing, the schedule is pretty wide open and accepts some of these more, international races. And it gets exciting because, you got some interesting tracks on the schedule here coming up.
Yeah, I honestly really like what we have going on down here in the Truck Series. How we have it East-West, and then they converge into a national series, essentially, with the playoffs.
Yeah, so we're actually going to open this truck championship on Mars this year. It was supposed to be kind of the test trial. Test trial's already gone good with our ARCA, Bridge to Cup, and Cup Series all racing on that track. So now the trucks really get to, ignite the fire for the start of this championship with the East and the West going onward here. So Mars Speedway, and then you've got Joe Gibbs International Raceway, which is an East Coast United States race, but it's still an impressive one because it's a 7-mile super speedway. And, I mean, we're putting a lot of emphasis on wildcard races for the first 2 races, as you've got Mars Speedway and JGIR. But then we go to Australia and go race a road course at Calder Park. And that'll be interesting. Germany, we're going to hit Euro Speedway, which for all intents and purposes, it's kind of like a Michigan. It's a 2-mile. It's more so like Indianapolis, but smaller. So that one will be interesting. Kyalami is a road course in South Africa. Then we're going to go run Twin Ring Motegi, which is actually a smaller oval track. Rockingham, UK, which is as the name implies, it's a oval track in Britain. Not to be confused with the real Rock. Well, I don't know if I can say the real Rockingham. There's two Rockingham tracks, so there's one in the U.S. and we're gonna be hitting the one in Britain. All roads lead to Ricky Raceway at the end of the year, so everyone. It starts with a wild card and it ends with a wild card. But there's enough meat in the center of the sandwich there to help kind of to separate, the wild card finishes from the, the real racing finishes. And of course, this was the last race on our regular season schedule so that we can actually get a full lineup of seeding. The wins and all the points, the bonus points will be accumulated based on regular season champion, based on race wins, based on pole positions. And so all these bonus points will kind of give us a seeding. And a lot of the drivers, all their regular season stats will still roll over to the chase and give them an opportunity to separate themselves from the others. Some of them might have enough points to allow for a mulligan in the first race, the first wild card race of the chase. So we're about 11 laps shy of the next round of green flag pit stops here at Darlington. Man, James, are you impressed at how clean they've raced here tonight?
Honestly, yeah. Like I said at the start of the race, we were either in for something that was going to be a really good race, which luckily we've had all night, or it was going to be an absolute disaster fest.
Here we go. Lap traffic's going to give Tom Cording an opportunity here. Oh, the 9 closed the door on him. But Tom's got plenty of opportunities as lap traffic is dense here on the long end of the green flag run. That to me is what's impressive about Darlington is how many lines there are. You think about it, it's a pretty single line track, but it's not at the same time because you've got guys that'll find kind of the diamond groove where they'll start low, go high, and then go back down low. Or you've got guys that'll just stay right down the middle. And to think about it, Darlington has so many lanes at the bottom without all the banking. Someone could get creative someday and figure out a way to run that lane all the way at the bottom. I don't know why you would do that because there's no banking there. You ain't going to be able to hold the speed. And first of our pit stops, very early actually, the 9 coming in about 8 laps early, so definitely an undercut here. That's not ideal if we get a long stint at the end here, or if we even get some cautions mixed in. He's going to burn up those tires and not have much for the finish. But strategically, if you look at it the other way, when he saw that the leader was fighting lap traffic, it's a great opportunity to pit now and try to get out with clear track and hopscotch the leader. So I can see both sides of the dagger there. Yeah, everyone else, it kind of pushes everyone else's hand that they've got to come in just that much earlier. You don't want to give a guy out there on fresh tires 5 laps of hot laps to get time set down. Alrighty, here we go with the last stint. Everyone's good to go to the finish. Few drivers left on track that have yet to pit. Looks like the 16 of Gerald, but he should be pitting this time around. There we go. Malcolm back out with the lead here. Just like last time, green flag pit stops, we saw the 9 shuffle way out front. Oh, this is trouble. The 78 gets into the wall. Luckily, Malcolm able to clear the chaos there. That could have been problematic. Man, James, I think we got to give credit to the pit crews here tonight.
Yeah, no mistakes on pit road by really anybody tonight. I mean, nobody's really cost anybody on time on pit road.
Just in case, we got green-white checkers enabled, because I suspect it could factor in here in the closing laps. But yeah, huge kudos to that 9 team, especially as quick as they get him off pit road. He's able to gain nearly 3 seconds each time on, well, at least 2 seconds on second place and 5 seconds plus on the rest of the field. But the race still far from over here. He did the undercut, so his tires are going to be a little bit on the rougher side as he's about 2 laps longer on those tires. The 10, 2 laps fresher. Look at, he's already caught up to lap traffic, and he's going to try to work his way back up to the 9, his teammate. But you got to imagine there's going to come a point where the tires, they kind of hit that plateau. And even if he's got the speed right now, if he uses up his stuff, he might have to settle for second regardless. And then Tom Cording in a must-win scenario here. Caught behind the lap traffic at the moment. Lap traffic's actually fighting each other for position. That's not ideal when you're a driver racing for lead positions. Cooler heads prevail at the moment. The 50 still looking to get around the 91, whom is 1 lap down in 34th. Oh, wow, we just now missed it. Lead change this last lap. Lap traffic didn't really well, I guess the lap traffic got on the inside of the 9 here, putting him in that high groove. And the speed discrepancy was just enough to allow the 10 truck to catch right up here. Back to the lead, the 10 of Jordan Walker. Alan Malcolm settles back in to second. And I think that just goes to show you the difference on the undercut there. It was good enough for a small boost, but now the 9 most likely going to struggle with pace here against his teammate. Lap traffic still helping him out a bit here, though. The 9 fighting back on the inside. What this could potentially do is help Tom Cording get back into the mix. The more these two fight it out for the lead. Even then, the more these two fight out for the lead, they could take each other out in a wreck here. Even our lap truck showing some muscle here. This is impressive. The 76 of Hamburgerson in what is to be his last USA Trucks start this year. 1 lap down in 31st, but still running with the leaders. What's your over-under, James, on us getting another caution here?
What do we got? How many laps we got left?
20.
20?
Give me a percentage. What you think is the percentage of a likelihood?
You give it a 5% chance.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think we get a caution here.
Okay.
We've been pretty quiet all night long.
Even with the lap traffic, I'd almost budge it up to at least a 25%. This lap traffic is dense. But no, based on how they've been running today, I think 5 to 10% is accurate because we really haven't seen anyone put a wheel wrong. Is the crazy part. I mean, the only caution we had today was a stalled car. So, yeah, no, it's very unlikely. But, man, would it be nice if we could get at least one more caution to stack things up. They cleared that lap traffic finally, so the 2 leaders setting sail at the front here. Unfortunately for Tom, he has not been able to make up any time. He's actually losing time to the leaders. Man, he lost another second there, down to 7 seconds out of the lead. Yeah, even though the 10 truck has the championship tied up, I think this is somewhat of a power move from the 9 to trying to assert where he stands with the team here. Yeah, the 10 truck has had multiple wins this season, holds the points lead, but his teammate It's the same engines, the same power, and that 9 truck kind of almost gets the the unfortunate title of being the redheaded stepchild, because you look at Trevor Vaden, Trevor Walker, Jordan Walker, all of them have gotten more than 4 wins this year. The 9 of Alan Malcolm has only gotten himself 2 wins on the season. And so, yeah, Jordan Walker with 5. Over on the west side, you've got Trevor Vaden with, 5, and Trevor Walker with 4. So I imagine Alan Malcolm has a bit of a chip on his shoulder to get the win here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to beat the boss.
13 laps. Maybe he's sitting back here and plotting his attack for the final few laps. 9 truck. I think based on how they're running here tonight, no matter what, he is going to work his way up to second in the points, which is going to be a huge, huge moment for that team. For Trevor Ventures to, to say that they're basically the 4 best trucks between the East and the West. That's a resounding statement from the team. The only person he's got to beat is James Gunner, and it looks like he's going to have to beat him by about 5 spots as they run. James Gunner. Gunner has since struggled and dropped all the way back to 17th. So, yeah, I think Malcolm's got second place on lock right now because of basically 16 spots to the good. But he's going to want that one extra step here, as Jordan Walker has been lights out this season. It's time for the 9 to show what he's got. 10 laps now to go. Lap traffic right in the distance. They're going to be a factor here.
Well, Hamburgerson not letting them out of their sights either.
No, that's a surprise right there. That truck, even though he's a lap down, still has the pace. If these guys start working their way back through lap traffic, Hamburgerson's going to gain some spots. We still haven't seen any more retirements since the 0 way back in the early parts of the race. We're down to 29 trucks on the lead lap. And even though it's only really been 2 trucks at the front of the field, it's been great racing between the 2 of them all night. We've seen...
Yeah, they've both raced each other very respectfully all night. Well, except for the one time when 10 doored the 9.
Yeah.
That wasn't very nice, but...
Yeah, it's been kind of a teeter-totter on who's got the advantage from one lap to the other. Alrighty, this time it's going to be 5 laps to go. I'm impressed they still haven't caught up to that lap traffic yet. It almost kind of makes you wonder if they're, you know, light pedaling here just to try and stay away. I don't know if the 9 would be light pedaling, but that 10 could very well be kind of, you know, running the pace here, keeping that 9 from passing him, but also keeping his distance from catching the lap traffic. It kind of looked like the 10 rolled into it there. He gave it some more gas. Kind of a game of cat and mouse as the 10 doesn't want to catch lap traffic yet, but the 9 still running very hard on his bumper. There we go. He's opening up. He's letting it eat some gas there. That 10 truck driving away from the 9, but with nowhere to go as he catches right up to the back bumper of the 81. And now we've got a race on our hands. Who's going to be able to make it through the lap traffic the best here? Is it going to be the 9 or is it going to be the 10? We've seen the 10 go through lap traffic pretty easily. It seems like he's using the 92 to draft a little bit here. Too wide in front of him.
Imagine I have a big one right now.
Oh boy. This is the opportunity that Malcolm needed. It's going to be here and gone in the split second. He's going to only have a very brief moment to capitalize on it.
I believe the window, as you were talking about it, closed. Because
Very.
he is gone.
We still got 2 laps to go, so the 9 has to recover and regroup here with only less than 2 miles left to race. And then you got to put yourself in the other shoes here. And, you know, Jordan Walker, even though he won the title a week early, he still wants to go out there and rack up some more bonus points so that he's got that much better of a seeding going into the chase. His 6 wins will be more than any driver if he gets it here tonight, number 6. And he should be your number 1 seed with regular season championship and the win total to boot. Coming around turn 4 for the final time here. Checkered flag waving in the air. It is going to be Jordan Walker getting the job done. Somewhat of a heartbreak there for Alan Malcolm, coming home second. Some folks' seasons have come to a slight halt.
Oh, after the checkered flag Andrew Moker's engine. Let's go.
He he had it for just enough laps, and everyone started falling apart there on the last lap, it seems. I hope that no, he's going to lose all these spots. That was for the last lap of the race. He's going to drop, I think, back to 20. No way. He's not even going to finish the last lap.
No, I think he finished.
No. He 184. Oh, okay, he did. He got the checkered flag right there. Blew up right on the checkered. That's okay, good. It was weird how I thought he almost didn't. Great finish by Wyatt Wilkinson with a top 5.
You may want to click back to live and make sure that
everyone got the memo, it seems. But yeah, I'm going to be really quick here to save the replay.
I would just go out and hit pause real quick, hit stop.
15 out of 15.
But no,
Well,
all in all, I'd say this was a really, really good race at Darlington tonight.
it kind of sets the stage for the playoffs, the chase, and it's going to be interesting to see all the faces of each side paired off against each other from the east and the west. It was definitely a power statement here tonight. It was either going to be one teammate or the other, and Jordan Walker hits a grand slam here tonight, driving home just why he belongs in the championship battle. Your 2024 East Division regular season champion closes out the season with a win here at Darlington. And it's going to be a kind of an off season of what ifs for Tom Cording, I imagine. So close on so many opportunities here in the closing into the season. He charged his way up in the points after missing the first half of the season. But he's still going to be able to go out there and play spoiler, you know.
Yeah, at least he'll be able to still be out there to play spoiler for his brother. He'll do his best to help out where he can.
And since, it's going to be Tim Gording going full-time truck next season and Tom Cording going full-time, kind of almost passing of the batons, I guess you could say, here tonight, as Tim will be continuing on for a truck championship, and Tom can start kind of setting his focus on the Cup venture next year.
Yeah, Tom can really start kind of just relaxing and turning his focus towards that Cup ride and get ready for 2025.
Well, we have come to a close here tonight, and I'm still not 100% certain how the rest of this week's going to go. I'm going to have to see where my schedule lines up with our streams and whatnot, but we will have a Bridge to Cup championship title determined this week. And there's a lot that comes with that championship. Obviously, the champion will graduate up into Cup. Atlee Weiss, since he's a Cup champion, he has given the approval to race the championship for Dave Steele Jr. and the 95 of Scott Speed. Since we won't allow Scott Speed into our Cup Series, he has previously been in our Cup Series, but the rule that we enabled to not allow real-life race car drivers in the Cup Series anymore. Scott Speed, his championship race is for Krista Cower. So if Scott Speed wins the championship, Krista Cower will gain the notoriety of being the graduate up to Cup. Or if Atlee does it, it's going to be Dave Steele Jr. that earns that graduation up to Cup, since they kind of played, Ultimate Spoiler and Bridge to Cup. And we kind of, skewed the rules just a little bit to let them fight for that championship. But yeah. What say you, James?
I'm pretty excited. Let's get down to business. Let's get the end of this stuff done. Let's find out who our champions are.
I'll keep in coordination with you. If you're available this week, would you be willing to hop in the stream for that one?
Yeah, if I'm available.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll try to work with you and see which day works the best, and then we'll come to a solid conclusion on when we'll run it this week. And then, of course, Darlington, we're going to be doing our throwback schemes for the Cup Series. That'll be fun.
Heck yeah. Should be fun.
So, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Have a good night. Until next time, this is Jakester and
James.